Welcome to the Black Heritage Hub Time Capsule. Quilts, guiding slaves to freedom on the Underground Railroad. This video is for educational purposes. Teaching our children Black history in fun and age-appropriate ways ensures that it won't be forgotten or erased. We hope that you enjoy. In the book Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad, I Lead the Way, we learned that Harriet used various signs to find her way to freedom. These signs were normal things in everyday life, but to the slaves running to freedom, they were signs that pointed them in the right direction on the Underground Railroad. Some of the normal things that were used as signs for slaves on their way to escape were handmade quilts. They didn't have sewing machines or couldn't just order online or buy them from a mall. They had to sew them by hand. They took pieces of fabric from old clothes, curtains, etc., and cut it into various shapes and patterns. Then they would put the pieces together one by one, like putting together a puzzle to get the desired design. Once the top design was done, they would add a bottom plain piece of fabric for the back and stuff some soft cotton or wool in the middle and sew the top and bottom pieces together to complete the quilt. Let's take a look at several of the patterns that were used to point the road to freedom and the meaning of them. The monkey wrench quilt. This pattern told the slaves planning to run away to get tools to build shelter, navigate their journey, or defend themselves on the way. The wagon wheel quilt. This pattern signaled to the slave to pack all of the things that would go in a wagon or be used on their journey. It was a signal to think about the essentials they needed to survive. The carpenter's wheel quilt. The pattern, a variation on the wagon wheel quilt, told slaves to run with faith to the Northwest Territories, saying to steal away. The log cabin quilt. This quilt pattern was used to let the slaves know where safe houses were. It was also a symbol to set up a home in a free state. The drunkard's path quilt. This was a clear warning for the slaves to move in a staggering fashion so as to elude any following slave hunters. It was suggested that slaves even double back to elude their pursuers. The bow tie quilt. Slaves' clothes were often tattered and easy to spot. This pattern meant that someone would bring the slave nice clothes to help them blend in with the free Black people. The North Star quilt. This quilt pattern instructed the slaves to follow the North Star to Canada and to freedom. The flying geese quilt. Like the carpenter's wheel, this pattern had different variations. A flying geese quilt hung outside the home was said to be code for slaves to follow the flying geese to Canada and to freedom. It's also believed that the direction of the arrows indicated where runaway slaves could find water, food, and shelter. Get your Harriet Tubman book and matching t-shirt today at blackheritagehub.store.